Hi guys, welcome back to another video. So this video is going to be about decentralized exchange tokens. So basically I will be looking at let's have a look at Hyperliquid. No, I think I did cover it a few days back, so I will just ignore Hyperliquid in this video. So we'll look at Uniswap, Jupiter or JUP. We'll also look at Pump.Fun. We'll also take a look at Aerodrome. I think adding Raydium or the Ray would also be a good idea. We'll also look at PancakeSwap as well as dYdX. So all of these are basically decentralized exchanges. I would say dYdX is a derivative exchange, so I'll just include it anyways. So let's have a look at it. Let's have a look at these tokens. The video will mostly focus on analysis of each token. I won't be going in depth in the you can say fundamental analysis. We'll just be looking at TA. So let's start with the OG, which is Uniswap. And the token basically started to do really well in 2021 bull run. As you can see, it actually had a market cap of over 20 billion, which is a lot. And even if you look at recently, it usually peaks slightly above $10 billion market cap, which I would say is still pretty high. And as of now it's at 6.5. If everything goes fine as of now with Ethereum and Bitcoin, I think there's a pretty good possibility that Uniswap could actually go as high as 10 billion, at least before making a big correction, or if we do see a massive crash. And if the crash happens before that, we'll also look at some of the pretty good entry points for the token itself. Now, starting with its TVL, it had a massive TVL of 6.3 billion, and they also launched something called UNI chain, which is basically their layer 2, and there also has a massive TVL of like 671 million, which is also a lot. And in the last 7 days, stablecoins market cap has also grown, so I would say that's pretty good overall for the UNI chain. Overall, the Uniswap is still one of the strongest, I would say, one of the strongest decentralized exchange, as well as one of the strongest DeFi platform as well. They support like 38 chains, which is a lot. Now coming to the token itself, this is a weekly chart that we are looking at, because it has been in the downtrend, I would say, ever since 2021. So this was when it actually peaked around $45, and it has been in the downtrend ever since. So as of now, my target I think would be this exact level, around 20 to like $15. As of now, I think it can go as high as like 15, or it can go as high as 20. But I think if it breaks above this downtrend, we could see like 28 is a possibility if it breaks above this downtrend that it has been. But as of now, it's looking really well for the token. Now if we look at its trend, of course it is in the uptrend. As you can see, if we look at the weekly chart, that it has been holding this trend really well. And as of now, even if the market goes down, I think I would be looking at a retest of around like 7.9 or even $8 could be pretty good entry point for this token. And even if the market crashes, let's say that BTC makes like 10% or like even 20% correction, I think it could be a pretty good coin to get into, around like $8 or even 8.1, or even I think around 7.9 is a pretty good entry as well. Let's see. But if the market goes and crashes like crazy, we could see like 6.3 or 5.9 is a possibility if we do see a black swan. But I don't think the market seems that way. But again, no one knows what will happen in the crypto, so I can't say for sure. But again, as of now, I think it is a pretty strong token to get into. Of course, I would be looking at entry of around like 8.8 to 8.3. If you cannot bet, I think you can also get it somewhere around 9.7 to 9.3 is a pretty good entry point, but this is a bit riskier. But I would say this is a pretty good entry point for the token. And I think as of now it can go as high as like $16, or even I would be looking at $15 the possibility for this token. Anyways, let's move on. After that, we have Jupiter or JUP token. It is the biggest, I would say, decentralized exchange on the Solana. If we look at by the TVL, it has like the TVL of 2.8 billion, which is a lot, and it's been growing slowly, as you can see here. Now the problem with JUP is that it has not performed it has performed really bad. As you can see, even when it launched, it actually ended up hitting like $1.8. After that, it went as low as 30 cents, and again it has recovered a bit, but it's not doing that well. So the biggest problem with this token would be that it has a massive unlocks. It had a massive unlock that happened, and because of that there were some investors and the team tokens being released in the market. That could be one of the reasons why I think the token actually went down. That's what I think anyways. But if we look at and try to analyze the token, I would say it does need to break above this downtrend for it to become bullish. As of now, I think again it has not broken from this downtrend from back in Jan of 2025, I would say, range, as you can see. So if it breaks above this trend line, like around, if it goes as high as like 80 cent or even slightly above than that, I think it could become a pretty good token to get into. But as of now, I don't think that it's looking that much good for the JUP. And as of now, I think if we do see a massive correction in the market, I would be looking at 34ish or like around 42 cent level, and that could be a pretty good entry for the token as well. But as of now, I think they do need to announce some kind of news or anything that can fuel the token surge. But as of now, it's not looking that good for, I would say, for the JUP token. But again, if it breaks above like from 81 cent and it starts to pump, I think we can expect like $1.2 or even like 1.4. And if it starts to surge, I think 1.8 is a possibility. But again, it's looking really tough for the JUP token. But again, if the market does make correction, I think it would be a pretty good entry point around 35 cent or even like 36 cent or even around 42 could be pretty good as well. So now looking at the Pump.Fun. Pump.Fun, if you don't know, it is one of the biggest meme coin launchpad on Solana, and they had a massive ICO. It was, I would say, biggest ICO of 2025. They ended up raising over 500 million in just like 12 minutes. After that, as you can see here, the token launched at like, I think it was at around 40, something like that, and after that the token it actually ended up going as high as 68, and after that it had a massive price crash. It was holding really well, that ICO price, but after that it had a massive, as you can see here, it actually had a massive crash, and I think one of the biggest investors actually ended up selling the token, and the price of the pump went as low as 22. But after that it actually ended up recovering because there was a buyback happening from the Pump.Fun as well, as you can see here. So overall it was looking really good for the pump, and as of now again it's looking really good for the pump, I would say. The reason being is that it is in the uptrend. Again, I think it's looking really good for the pump token, and if we are planning to get this token, I think, at least for me, the best entry point for this token would be around 32, or even I would say around like 33 could be a pretty good entry point. And again, it does have that psychological, you can say, resistance around 40 as well. So I think the 40 is the biggest resistance. If it flips that, things could look actually really good, but as you can see here, it rejected from that level as well. So again, I'm expecting a retest of around like 32 or 31 is a possibility. If it goes below that, like 30, or even it can go as low as 22 or 25, because it has done the exact thing in the past. So I'm not sure. If it breaks below this trend line, things could look really bad for the token. But as of now, I think it can go like as low as 32 or even 33, and if it breaks above like this resistance, we could be looking at surge as high as 46, and if the hype continues, it could actually go around, I would say, 54, even 60, even this new all-time high is a possibility for this token. So let's have a look at Aerodrome Finance. I think, I am not even sure how many videos I have on the Aerodrome Finance, but I have a lot of those. And the last time I covered it, it was something like this. This was my analysis, as you can see here, and I did say that once Coinbase announces the integration of base DEXs, of course the Aerodrome would be the biggest one, and finally Coinbase did, and as you can see here, that had a massive impact on Aerodrome Finance, because it is the biggest decentralized exchange on the Base network, and Base is like the biggest as of now, I would say, biggest layer 2 in a crypto, and they most likely have the biggest user base in terms of, I would say, in terms of wallets in the crypto as well. And if you look at the Aerodrome itself, this was my analysis. I did say that this was a resistance that I would be looking at around 1.29, but it actually ended up hitting like 1.42. So that's pretty good, I would say, for the Aerodrome token itself. Now if this trend continues, I think Aerodrome is looking really strong, and it can make a correction, I would say, if the market does go south as of now. And if we do see a massive crash, I think we could be looking at a retest of around like $1.01 or even $1 is a pretty, I would say, a pretty good retest zone as well. But this is the zone that I'm looking at for a quick entry. Again, this is a riskier, I would say, zone, but again, I think if the market does makes a big crash, we could be looking at a wick as low as 1.01. I think that could be a pretty good entry. If not, I think this trend line is still valid, I would say, so we could expect Aerodrome to go as low as like 91 cent is a possibility, and after that I think it can actually go up as well. But again, we do have another trend line, I would say, that also needs to you also need to know that as well. So if the market does go, and if we do see a massive crash as of now, I think Aerodrome can go as low as like 80 cent or even 78 or 76 cent is a possibility. Now let's assume that the market goes like the way it is doing, and Ethereum hits a new all-time high and everything goes really well. So what will happen with Aerodrome? If that happens, I think we could be looking at a new all-time high. I'm not joking, I think that is a possibility. Of course, my target would be all-time high of the Aerodrome Finance. So if it starts to pump, I think we can expect like 2.37 to 2.18, and that's a possibility. And again, Aerodrome, I think, is one of the most bullish token as of now. And another, I would say, another resistance could be around this level, which would be around 1.62 to 1.51. And if you're looking for riskier entries, again, I think like around 1.19 is a pretty good entry for this token as well. Or you can even, if you are willing to bet, I think you could take this entry around 1.06 to 1.01, or even like 1.08 also seems to be a pretty good entry. These, of course, these are riskier entries, but I think if the market performs the way it is doing as of now, we could actually see like 1.62, or even I think new all-time high should be possible for the Aerodrome. So let's have a look at Raydium. I haven't done in-depth dive into Raydium yet, so I have planned to do in-depth dive into Raydium, but as of now I haven't done so. So we'll be looking at the price action, and we'll also analyze some of the impacts that the Pump.Swap as well as Punk.Swap has had on the Raydium. So after the launch of Punk.Swap as well as, I would say, Bonk.Swap, the Raydium did actually saw a massive decline in user base. And if we look at its market cap, we can see the impact of that. So it actually had the market cap of over 2.2 billion back in back in Jan of 2005, and after that it saw a massive decline as low as 538 million, and as of now it's struggling to break $1 billion. Now if it breaks $1 billion, as you can see here, that it is trying really hard, I think we could see like $6 or even $5 as a possibility. Because this is one of the OG, I would say, DEX on the Solana, I think it has that reputation. So again, if the market, and if especially if the meme tokens starts to trade again, we could actually be looking at a pretty good, I would say, price jump from the Raydium as well. But again, as of now, if we look at from when it launched, it actually was at $17, and it has been in the downtrend ever since then, as you can see here. So again, if it goes and starts to pump as of now, I would be looking at like around 7.6. That's a possibility, but again, the competition is just too strong. So again, even if it starts to go up, I would be looking at $6. I think that is possible, but like hitting a new all-time high, that seems to be far, I would say it's far away. Even a high, even if we look at a new high from the recent high, which would be around 8.7, it is a possibility, but again, I think it's just to the competition is just too tough as of now in the Solana space, I would say. Now I would be looking at like this level. If it starts to go up, I would be looking at 6.5 to 5.9, and if the market starts to go down, it is following this trend. So if you look here, it has been in this uptrend ever since like April. So I would be looking at a pretty good retest of around like $2.2, or even I would say around 2.4, or even like I think 2.2 or $2 seems to be the pretty good entry price for this token as of now. Now let's have a look at PancakeSwap, or the cake token. It was a pretty big token back in 2021. As you can see, it was on par with Uniswap, but it did not get that much adoption. As you can see, Uniswap actually ended up expanding themselves to like 31 chains, and as of now PancakeSwap only supports like 9 chains. So they have been slow, but again still they are building. As you can see, it has a market TVL of like 1.89 billion on Binance Smart Chain, and Binance Smart Chain is one of the biggest one, I would say. Now as of now, the biggest user there are on the base as well as on Binance Smart Chain, and I think that has to do with the integration of decentralized exchanges directly to their centralized exchange. So like Binance has Binance Alpha, and Coinbase also has their base DEXs integration as well. Now all of that has had a pretty good impact on, I would say, PancakeSwap, and because of that the token did make a biggest recovery. Like from $1 it's now at 2.7. so it has been slowly crawling its way up, but its price action is just too messy. So even if you look here, look at this price action, it's just too messy, I would say. Now if we look at its resistance, it has like the biggest resistance around this zone. So even if it starts to go up, I would be looking at 5.6 to $2.5, and I think that is the strongest resistance that it needs to cross if it wants to go higher. If it doesn't cross this resistance, I think again it will most likely go down. But again, there is still like, if it wants to hit these exact level, it does need to go up like 70%, which is a lot, I would say. As of now, and the token is looking really well. As you can see, it is going up. So if things remains the same, I think we could be looking at a pretty good price jump as high as like $4.5 with the possibility. But again, to do that, it does need to go up, and it is trying. Let's see what happens. But if the market goes down, I would be looking at like let me just draw it for you. So I would be looking at a retest of around like this level, so around like 2.3, or even, I know it's not that much far, but 2.3 seems to be the pretty good entry point, because it is following this trend, and this trend seems to be pretty strong one, because we have one tick here, one tick here, and one tick here. So if we get another tick, I think we can go higher than this. So let's see what happens. But again, it also has this mini resistance, I would say, that it needs to overcome, like around this level. So around, it just also needs to go above $3.3 if it wants to hit like 4.5. Now let's have a look at dYdX. So this token had a massive hype. It is a derivative decentralized exchange. You can see here it is also layer 1. So dYdX was supposed to be hype, but it turns out that it did not get that much attention, and basically the Hyperliquid ended up being the replacement for this token, I would say. Now it has massive runs. As you can see, even back in December, it actually ended up hitting like nearly 2 billion. Even back in March of 2024, it actually ended up hitting like 1.7 as well, and the price of this token has been going down ever since. Now I would say it has been in the downtrend ever since 2021, as you can see, and this downtrend is really strong. So even if you look here, back in March it tried to break above this downtrend, it couldn't. Even in December it actually tried to break above this downtrend, it couldn't, and now it is still, I think, going for that again exact level. So if somehow the token continues to go up, and if dYdX break this level, which I would say is this resistance, so if it breaks like this resistance around let's see, if it breaks like 86 to 75 resistance, I think we could look at a rally as high as $1.5. That is possibility because this token has had a massive recoveries as well, so I wouldn't count this out as of now. But again, I think it does need to cross above these this strong support. So it has I would say like 75 cent to 84 cent is really strong resistance zone for this token, and if it breaks above that, we could be looking at a rally as high as like 1.5. I think that is possible if that happens. And if it goes down again, I think it seems to be in the uptrend, so I would be looking at a retest of around like 58 cent, or even like around I think 54 or 56 cents seems to be I would say another entry point for this token. Again, as of now, it does need to break above this resistance if it wants to go like as high as $1.5, but this resistance is really strong, so it has rejected like 1 to 3 times around this resistance, like 4 times. So let's see what happens. But again, overall, for closing this video, I would say the market on the BTC and ETH are going down, so let's see if BTC starts to go up and Ethereum starts to go up. I think all of these decentralized exchange tokens will most likely go up. So again, I think the market is again dependent on BTC as well as Ethereum. Let's see what happens. Anyways, if I missed any, or if you want others to know any tokens, you can just leave that in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. I will be back with more. Thank you.